First, it's going to be led by Aaron Wood.
Please bow your heads. Almighty Father, the source of life and strength, we pour out a lesson on our country, on our party, and on our people. These great people who come here together, inspire them with your questions, inspire them with your answers, inspire them with your words. May we be thy servants. Amen.
And now we will have the pledge, and that will be led by Rebecca. Can you stand?
With allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I noticed that we have a number of visitors, some first-time visitors, so welcome you all, and you will enjoy it. The rules of the game is that the guest speaker comes up, and he'll speak for some period of time. Then you'll open it up for questions, and then right about 9 o'clock, 9:15, depends on how long he wants to go with that. We'll close it, and we'll have campaign updates. But as I said, it's pretty much up to the speaker how he wants to handle that. And if it keeps going on, I'll step in and stop. So we're very, very, very proud, very privileged, and very pleased to have our own Congressman, Scott Taylor. Scott.
Good morning, everybody. How y'all doing? I think I'm just going to give an update a little bit, talk about what's coming up when we get back to Washington, both overall in Washington, and the funding of the government and stuff like that, and then also some of the bills that are mine that popped up. And then I'll just open up for questions. Sound good? All right, so let's talk about the overall situation in funding the government right now and an appropriations process, because obviously we have the fiscal year and coming up for our government. And as fiscal conservatives, we don't like omnibuses because what happens, actually let me take a step back. There are 12 funding bills that fund the government, right? 12 of them. And what should happen is what's called regular order, where the House passes each one, the Senate passes each one, and then you go to conference to negotiate the end product, right? When you don't do that, what happens is, like the last time, it's called an omnibus. Timing runs out, and they put it all together, and it essentially lends itself to more spending, right? More gets put in there, and then you have to make a decision. Then you have to make a decision to either support it or not. You don't get the luxury of saying, I'm going to pull this out, pull this out. It's yes or no, period. So it's not the way to do things. And when I first ran, I said, look, Congress is broken, we need a fresh start, because that's one of the biggest things. Because if you're not doing that, you're spending a lot more money, and then you also have what's called continuing resolution. So when the House and the Senate couldn't get each appropriations bill passed, they do what's called a continuing resolution, which a cumulative effect of continuing resolutions is very bad for our military, it's very bad for the government, period, because it doesn't allow government agencies to be able to spend past the date that they continue the resolution to. They have to spend it at the same rate. They can't plan for multi-year projects and stuff like that. It ends up costing us taxpayers a lot more money. It's a bad way to do business. What I will tell you is, I remember sitting in a Republican conference, and we were talking about the upcoming appropriations bills, and our leadership was speaking, and they were speaking as though it was inevitable that there would be another continuing resolution. And I'm like, whoa, hold on a second. And I'm proud to tell you that myself and folks like Liz Cheney and even Bob Whitman as well have been leading the charge to alter the culture to make sure that we don't have continuing resolutions. We've done floor speeches. We pressed upon leadership that we will in fact build a coalition, that we may not vote for a speaker if we don't go back to regular order, because again, it makes us spend more money in tax purposes, we lose more money with continuing resolutions, and it's devastating. It has a devastating cumulative effect on our military. So moving forward, what I will tell you, let me stop, sorry. Last year, the House passed all 12 appropriations bills, but the Senate didn't take up anything, which then we ran out of time, had a continuing resolution a couple times, several times, and then it led itself to an omnibus. This year, the House is moving appropriations bills again, and I'm cautiously optimistic because the Senate is actually passing appropriations bills. They're actually taking them up on the floor and passing them. As you guys know, I'm the only Virginian on the Appropriations Committee. The chairman of the Appropriations Committee also now named me as a conferee, and what that means is, again, if we pass appropriations bills in the House, pass them in the Senate, you go to what's called conference, so there's only a few individuals in the room there who negotiate the end product before it goes to the Senate. So it's a huge honor, and it's usually it's for more senior folks that are there. So I'm privileged to be part of the conferee that deals with the energy and water appropriations bill, the military construction and veterans affairs, and we're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars for this area. So it's awesome that I'm right at the end, I'm best positioned to protect those money flows for needed projects here in our district. Now, I'm cautiously optimistic, as I said, that the Senate is passing appropriations bills. However, we have 11 legislative days in September prior to the end of the fiscal year. That's a problem. Because as you guys know, Washington's not super fast, and any little thing can make people punt, and you also have to make sure that we have the needed votes, right? What I would submit to you is, as an appropriations member and a fiscal conservative, we get a lot of crap because they're like, okay, well, this is the Republican appropriations bill, but it's also a spending bill, right? And it's our product, it's the best thing that we put forward. I have spoken many times to my colleagues about the appropriations bills, and some people don't want to do appropriations because they don't want to take votes that are spending, right? But the reality is appropriators are probably more conservative than everybody else because you can bet that all those conservatives and all those congressional members are submitting thousands of requests for spending, or they have voted on authorizations that the money hasn't been appropriated yet. So it's important that we have conservatives that are running the Appropriations Committee, but more importantly, once the bill comes out and goes to the floor, it's important that we have fiscal conservatives who are willing to vote, because it is a fundamental duty to fund our government. Because what happens, and this is poli-sci 101, you have the left and you have the right. Can we all agree that funding the government is a fundamental duty of Congress? Yes. Right? Meaning, eventually, that funding bill is going forward, period. And there are bills that you want me to stand up and say no or yes all the time. There are other bills that you want me to engage and have a seat at the table, and this is one of them. So if you have the left and you have the right with the funding bill, and it's going to go through, if you're minus 30 fiscal conservatives from the get-go because they're not willing to vote for any spending bill, what does that do to the bill? It moves it to the left, which means what? More spending. So it's important that all of us have a seat at the table from the beginning so that you can keep that bill to the right as much as possible. That is my hope. That is what I'll be preaching and trying to push. But I think, again, it's important that we get back to what's called regular order, that we pass these appropriations bills. When we get back in September, we will be fast and furiously getting those appropriations bills teed up. I'll be going to conference because we've already passed the military construction and veterans affairs budget. So we'll be working to keep, the needed monies to deal with the backlog of infrastructure and construction projects for our bases around here. And then hopefully we get that regular order passed next month. That's really, in my opinion, with all the noise, because I'm sure you guys have questions with other things that are going on, all the politics and all the noise, that's the most fundamental thing, in my opinion, next month when we go up there for our country, for the government, for our military, and certainly for this area that relies on 43-ish% of our economy of direct federal spending. So, taking it back personally, a couple of bills that I'm working on that are getting marked up next month that we're very proud of. Number one is the HOPS bill. So the HOPS bill, we've worked with the White House. It's sort of the America First agenda. The White House is 100% on board. We're working through DHS. So many of you guys know that anything in DOD has to be made in America and stuff like that, with some exceptions, right? Uniforms, tactical gear, all that stuff made in America. Well, that law didn't apply to DHS. So Department of Homeland Security, Customs and Border Patrol, Coast Guard, ICE. So probably the most interesting example is uniforms and tactical gear and Customs and Border Patrol is made in El Salvador. Or Mexico and not in America, which is kind of crazy. So both because it should be made here, and then also any national security implications. So this bill would extend that DoD provision to DHS. Like I said, the White House is 100% on board. It's going to be marked up in DHS this coming month, so hopefully we'll get that marked up and on the floor and voted out September, October timeframe in the House. The second bill that's going to be voted on has to do with flooding, right? We have obviously problems here in flooding, and there is we have soundings out in the bay that shows their sea level rise. Norfolk has a problem they have a double problem, but one of they have subsidence, which means they're actually sinking a little bit, so you have big problems in flooding. That's bad for our bases, that's bad for our property values. We have to think about how we create resilience and deal with that. One of the things that my office has already accomplished is on protecting our bases. So obviously a huge economic driver for our area. The bases, inside the base, the military DoD to provide funds and deal with piers and other things to protect their assets. But the biggest problem that they couldn't do were the access roads. So going to and from the base, getting soldiers and sailors off the base and equipment and so on and so forth. So we put language in there that would prioritize that, and it would allow for DoD to work with the localities to fix the base access roads, or at least create resilience for them. Therefore, helping to protect our vital military assets and bases in this region. So we've done that. That's in an amendment. That's in the appropriations bill. However, and legislatively, we're working on getting designations for flooding and sea level rise, nationally recognized designations for centers of excellence. This area, after Louisiana, is the most vulnerable in the country. So Louisiana first, then this area. So we've been working with ODU and William & Mary, who obviously want these designations because there's potential for R&D money, there's potential for economic clusters of businesses that work specifically on resilience so that we can deal with our problems here, export those services around the country and possibly around the world. So we're working on getting that marked up, and ODU and William & Mary will be aggressively applying for that designation. So if they can get that, they would be the first in the country to be able to get it for this area, which could be great for creating businesses to deal with resilience. The last bill that's made it, we're working on getting it passed. I spoke with Bob Goodlatte yesterday, who was in Guyana or Brazil or something like that, was how many of you guys are familiar with the Ashanti Billy case? You guys remember that? There was a young female who was abducted off of Little Creek Naval Base, and she was taken, and it took place about a week and a half, 2 weeks later, they found her body, unfortunately, in North Carolina. So the background on that is the family, I got text messages one night, the night before I was supposed to fly back to DC, and the family somebody asked, hey, this family didn't like to meet with you, they're having issues, they're not hearing, what's going on, they don't know what's going on with their daughter. So I met with them, and I will tell you that in my gut, I knew that this family was going to get some bad news. I knew that they were going to get some bad news. But the issue was, at the time, was you had the TV police, you had the base police, you had the FBI, and it was just kind of muddled. No one was really taking a point or had the Fed, basically the Fed needed to step in because you might have had an issue where you had to cross state lines, which you in fact did. So that day, I canceled my flight to DC, and we worked on getting the Feds involved, and they did. We called the FBI, called the Virginia Beach Police. FBI, a couple hours later, took over the investigation and brought their assets to bear to try to find this young lady. And unfortunately, they did. So after that, in the aftermath of all that, we looked at how can we help save lives? How can we help get resources and assets to bear a little faster? So if you guys are familiar with Amber Alerts? So there's an Amber Alert, there's a Silver Alert. So Amber Alert, 18 and younger, Silver Alert, 65 and older, right, or missing persons. There's nothing for adults. Now some of you adults want to go missing. Some of you want to go missing. But there's nothing for adults. And to give you an idea, I think it was 2015, the Amber Alert, which is a smaller population of from 18 to 65 is a big swath of the country, right? 18 and younger, a little smaller comparatively. The Amber Alert in 2015 was used 179 times. 155 of the people who went missing were recovered. 43 of the 155 that were recovered were directly attributable to the Amber Alert, meaning 43 of them probably had their lives saved because of that Amber Alert, right? So there's nothing for us all. So we looked at that. How can we mimic that? So we didn't want to impede on the freedoms of you adults who want to go missing, but we wanted to give law enforcement agencies who are investigating, if they felt it necessary to get more resources via broadcast, telecommunications networks, as well as social media. We all share Amber Alerts on our social media, which brings access to bear, brings more attention on the person that's missing. So we wanted to create a similar thing that gave flexibility and the authority to the investigating agency, and we wanted to create an Ashanti Alert, called after her to honor her death and create a legacy for her that saved lives. So we had it teed up, and it was going to go for what's called a suspension bill, which would have gone through the House pretty quickly, but there was a cost to it. There was a cost to it, as there is for the Amber Alert and as there is for the Silver Alert. So we had to go back to the drawing board and find an offset. We didn't want to try to put more money in the budget. We wanted to find some pot of money that was being not utilized or underutilized and move those money to do that. So we had found the offset in a pot of money that was appropriated but wasn't being used in something in criminal justice. And we've worked with the Judiciary Committee and Majority Leader's office to do that. So the goal for us next month, on September 25th, that's the year anniversary that family came to my office. And we're trying to get it passed through the House on that day. And again, I think it's one of the things that, quite frankly, I'd be most proud of, because I think I know it will save lives. Virginia implemented a similar law this past year because of the same incident, and obviously they're getting the session a little faster. They've already used it like 4 or 5 times, and just inside Virginia. So imagine this nationwide. So I'm very proud of that, and we're doing everything we can to get that done next month. So that's kind of what's overall going on, and then also internally within our office, we continue to work every day on veterans issues and military issues. And I just got back from Tangier yesterday. We were all on the Eastern Shore, and we brought some good news. It was actually pretty cool. I mean, we came over on a boat, and it was like half the island was under us, waiting for us to get there, because they've been waiting for the Army Corps of Engineers to give them approval to build their jetty, which is vital for their working harbor and their way of life. And we were able to bring the good news to them that it has now been approved, and now the state is going to do the same thing, and they'll get it built this year and next year. And they were very appreciative and very happy that happened. But so anyways, we work on all kinds of things, and I also want to make sure that you guys know, and I'll always say this, if there's something that we can do for you individually, help you navigate between the federal agencies, Social Security, disability, veterans issues, any of those things, our office is always standing by and ready to do it. Some of the best things that we do, quite frankly. Oh, one more alibi before I open up the questions. One of the best things, in my opinion, that I'm able to do is when we look at Service Academy nominations, we get these nominations for people who want to step up and serve the country, and I think that's an amazing thing when you have these young hard chargers that are willing to do that. But one of the other things on the opposite side is recognizing people who haven't been recognized yet. And the Hampton VA reached out to the Disabled American Veterans Unit of Yorktown, who reached out to our office, and there was a gentleman, Private First Class White, who fought in D-Day, fought in the Battle of Walsh, and he received the Combat Infantry Medal, which in 1944, President Roosevelt created the Bronze Star. And then in 1947, it was Dwight D. Eisenhower, when he was the Army Chief of Staff. He basically looked at the Combat Infantry badge and Combat Medic badge from World War II and said that both of those met the intent of the Bronze Star and that they should be awarded that. So as you can imagine, there's probably some people who just didn't get it done. I'm looking over my own DD-214, and we had tons of stuff that was missing. So we had to get all our records and stuff. So anyways, somebody found out that this gentleman, who was always at the VA, had earned the combat infantry badge, but didn't have the Bronze Star, and had fought D-Day and fought in the Battle of Bulge. And he got the combat infantry badge, basically fighting hand to hand in one of those battles. I mean, pretty crazy stuff. But we were able to get, my office was able to get him his Bronze Star, and we had this ceremony at the hands of VA. And think about it, I mean, there aren't many left, right? From D-Day, and so it was a very powerful ceremony. And a lot of the staff from the VA came up there to pay the respects and stuff, and he was so happy and smiling, and couldn't believe it was happening to him. He's 94 years old. I mean, that's a hero. Hey guys, that's when guys are tough. You know what I mean? All right, why don't I go ahead and open up for any questions you guys have? You were the first one.
Sweet. Hi, my name's CJ. I've seen you several times, talk to different groups. So you speak on budgeting, which I'm glad that you're a part of the budget crew. But you also speak on the fact that the people that don't want to vote on any budget, because they don't want to vote on it. But when you say that, and I get that, I see those people in Congress. But when you get to
They're all friends of mine, by the way.
Sure. But
I just think they should step up.
when you get to that point, what is the line for you where I use the word obstruction, but I don't mean obstruction like they just are like, I hate people.
Yeah, I wouldn't call them obstructions.
Yes,
you know?
yes, I agree. I don't know the right words, I'm just using a word, but you understand that they just don't want to vote, right? Or they have problems with the budget. Now, in my mind, I've seen so many bills go through that people have voted for that are just for they're beyond the pale of the latest one where we have like the Republicans go, okay, well we'll let trillions of dollars go through, and we can't vote no because they have the line that you're saying. We have to vote on it. We have to. I get that we have to fund the government.
I know exactly what you're asking, and let me address it. Number one, I don't think they're obstructionists.
Okay, gotcha.
But when the bill gets to the floor, when it's ugly like that, and you have to make a decision, yes or no, that is not the time to be on TV and talking about it, and bitching about it, and stuff like that, right? It's not.
Okay.
It's not. When the time to if you actually want to do something instead of talk,
Sure.
and like these guys are all my friends, you know what I mean? But you're not going to reduce spending. You're not going to deal with the debt by going on TV and talking about it back and forth. No, it's actually you actually have to do something. You actually have to have a seat at the table. You have to actually work on policy. You actually have to build coalitions and work on. That's the way it works. That's the way it works.
So
And, let me say, I'm not into while I'm on TV all the time. I know that. But I'm interested in being impactful. I'm actually interested in doing things. I'm interested in reducing spending. I'm interested in all that. So we can't do that unless it's all hands on deck. I mean, period. That's the reality.
Okay, so let me just finish that up. So you're saying that if a bill comes to the floor and it has funding for something that a lot of people in this room would say is not a good thing. I don't know what that thing is, but let's say it is. You're saying that you would vote for that.
No, what I'm saying is, so for example, let's take that spending bill that I don't like, that it had too much spending, that it should have never had that much spending, that it should have never been an omnibus, but that's what we were faced with, right? And part of that reason is again because our guys and girls gotta be engaged. They have to be willing to negotiate and in fact vote for a spending bill because you can hold the line. Right? Or even get the line in the direction that we want to go. If you're not, like I said, it's very simple. It's poli-sci 101, man. If that bill's going through, and you don't have enough people on the right, you gotta have enough votes to get through it. And it has to go through. It just moves to the left. Right? The way you hold the line is everybody's engaged. We're all standing together. Let me tell you something. Democrats stand together. Democrats Democrats shove the American government down. Make sure you get this. My side back there. He's a good guy, by the way. He's a good guy. The Democrats, including my opponent, who put out an email that supported this, shoved the American government down over a Clean Dream Act. The Clean Dream Act had not enough votes to even come to the floor. But they all stood together. They all stood together and voted against the government. So we just need us to come in. It's a team sport, man. And let me try an experiment here. How many of you guys like apples? Actually, three things. You got apples, you got pears, you got oranges. You got to eat them every day for the next year. How many of you guys would eat apples for the next year? Every day. How many of you guys would eat oranges for the next year? How many of you guys would eat pears for the next day? Okay, well, here's the deal. Only one of them are going to be eaten for the next year. Figure it out. That's the thing right there. And that's what you have to build. It's actually that simple. So now, only one's going through. Figure it out. There's a third of each one, but you got to figure it out. So that's the way our system works. So you got to have people engaged. Yes.
I just wanted to thank your office. During the earthquake in Indonesia, my son was over there, and we hadn't had any correspondence with him in like 5 days. And so I reached out to your office, and they responded really quickly. And that was safe and sound. But I was a pretty panicked mom during all of that. But I just want to thank you and your office for, intervening for everybody.
That's what we're here for. Thank you. Yes, sir.
You mentioned the stormwater and flooding, and you were delegate in Richmond, and we saw what success came out of there when we worked together as a region to get transportation funds on 64. When it comes to the stormwater and the flooding, you talk about the centers of excellence at ODU or William & Mary. Is there something we're doing wrong, or is there something we could be doing better as a region? Like we got success with transportation funding. We need to be working together as a region to get that federal attention down here, because the flooding problem in Norfolk very quickly becomes a flooding problem in Portsmouth and Virginia Beach.
That's an excellent question. I'll give you an example. So we had the first mayor summit on the Eastern Shore recently. And on the Eastern Shore, you guys know, if you might be the mayor of 50 people, you might be the mayor of 700, you might have 180 in your small town. So you don't have a lot of political power if you're the mayor of 50 people, like both at the state and the federal level. But we got them all together, and we got a plan on what the top priorities of the whole shore is. Obviously, economic development's there, sewer, and broadband, right? But together, if they're together, people are going to listen to them. So, to your point, yes, absolutely. I think it's extremely important together as a region. Now, I know people talk about regionalism, and there are opinions either way on it, but there's no question about it. Like you said, the flooding's not, if water is not going to stop for the city line. So, to the extent the region can come together and work to have more political capital both at the state level and the federal level, absolutely. Yes.
I heard your opponent. Yeah. A week or so ago. First we were talking about the explanation what our debt was, and what the debt service was for years. And then she began to give a list of all the things she wanted to be spending for. Which is sort of water.
Medicare for all.
The debt is still 8 years.
I agree.
She was absolutely correct. The debt service on her. Solution.
So if I could snap my fingers and have a solution, I would love to be able to do that. And obviously I can't. And let me say, I'm going to go back to your question in a second. I want to say this because I think it's important. I say it a lot. On one hand, I'm a congressman, right? And I can make a phone call, I can shine lights on things, I can apply pressure to things, and that's effective in many instances. On the other hand, I'm one of 435. So you can get, it's very tough to get things done. And looking at every single problem